My wife's affair was only the beginning of the nightmare she put me through. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 36, and I'm about to lose my freaking mind. I've always been the good son, the one who did everything right. Went to a good school, started a business with my parents' help, I'll admit, married the perfect girl. Now, it's all falling apart, and I'm starting to think they all played a part in it. My parents have always had a huge influence on my life. Let's just say they have strong opinions, and I've always felt this pressure to make them proud. I thought I was doing a good job, but now I'm not so sure. Where do I even begin with this mess? It was a Tuesday. Perfectly normal, agonizingly normal Tuesday. Clara was at her weekly book club, which I'm now 99% sure was a cover for something else, and I was working late. I needed to grab her iPad to look up something for work, and when I unlocked it, a message notification popped up. It was from Mark. Just a stupid little heart emoji, but something felt off. Call it a gut feeling. I know, snooping is bad, but something propelled me. I opened the Messages app, and my world imploded. The messages weren't just flirty, they were violating. Explicit details about their encounters, how she felt stifled by me, how I was emotionally unavailable, which is a complete lie, even how Mark was so much better in bed. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I physically staggered back, my hand flying to my mouth. Nausea rolled over me in waves. I think I might have actually dry heaved. There were months of these messages. Months. I scrolled and scrolled, each message a fresh stab wound. They talked about our life together like it was some kind of joke. She called me Ethan the robot and mocked my relationship with my parents. It was like reading a twisted version of my own life, written by someone who clearly hated me. I stumbled into the living room, the iPad clutched in my hand like a lifeline. I sank onto the couch, my vision blurring. I reread the messages as if somehow they'd magically change, as if I'd misread them. But no, they were real, this was real. My perfect wife was having an affair and she seemingly despised me. When Clara got home, I don't even know what I did. I think I just showed her the messages numbly silently. She didn't even flinch. She just rolled her eyes and said, "Oh, Ethan, you're being dramatic. It's not a big deal." Not a big deal. I'll never forget those words. They echoed in the hollow space that used to be my heart. That's when I tried to talk to her, like a rational human being. I said, "Clara, how can you say it's not a big deal? You're having an affair." She laughed, actually laughed. "An affair? Don't be so melodramatic, Ethan. Mark is just a friend, we're close, you wouldn't understand." Wouldn't understand. You're talking about intimate details of our life, Clara. You're calling me names, you're saying I'm emotionally unavailable. My voice was shaking. I could feel the anger starting to bubble up, but I was desperately trying to keep it contained. "See, there you go again," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "Always so sensitive, it's exhausting. Maybe if you weren't so wrapped up in your work and actually paid attention to me, I wouldn't need to find emotional support elsewhere." My head was spinning. This wasn't how I envisioned this conversation going. Emotional support. You're talking about sexting and making plans to meet up behind my back. That's not emotional support, Clara, that's cheating. She sighed dramatically and threw her hands up in the air. "God, you're impossible, you're twisting everything, I can't talk to you, you're too controlling." Then she stormed off to our bedroom and slammed the door. Controlling, controlling. I was trying to have a conversation about her cheating on me, and I'm the controlling one. I sat there, stunned, the iPad still clutched in my hand. The screen was dark now, but I could still see the ghostly images of those messages burned into my retinas. Later that night, my parents came over for dinner like they always did on Wednesdays. I couldn't bring myself to tell them what had happened, not yet, but the tension was thick in the air. Clara was all smiles and sunshine like nothing had happened. It made me sick. During dinner, I barely touched my food. My mom noticed. "Ethan, dear, are you feeling all right? You look pale." I mumbled something about not being hungry. Clara chimed in, "He's just been stressed about work lately. He's been working such long hours, he's practically living at the office." My dad nodded sagely. "That's the price of success, son. You have to make sacrifices. Your mother and I understand." Sacrifices? Was my marriage a sacrifice? Was my happiness a sacrifice? I wanted to scream. Later, after my parents left, I tried to talk to Clara again. I suggested couples therapy. She scoffed. "Therapy, please, that's just performative. You don't actually want to fix anything, Ethan, you just want to control me." That's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just a fight. This was something else, something sinister. She was twisting everything, making me the villain in her story. And my parents, they were enabling her. They were so focused on my success that they were blind to the fact that their perfect daughter-in-law was tearing my life apart. I felt a cold dread creep into my bones. I was trapped. 2 weeks later, and things have gone from bad to nuclear. I'm barely functioning. Sleep, forget about it, I'm a walking zombie. And the gaslighting, it's reached Olympic levels. Clara's new tactic, bringing in the reinforcements, her mother. Judith, the woman is a master manipulator. She arrived yesterday, unannounced, with enough luggage for a month-long stay. Apparently Clara called her, sobbing, telling her I was unstable and acting erratically. So now Judith is here to take care of her precious daughter. From me. The moment she walked in, she gave me this look, this pitying, condescending look that made my blood boil. Ethan, dear, she said, her voice dripping with fake concern, Clara tells me you've been having a difficult time, you poor thing. I just stared at her, speechless. I'm the one having a difficult time. My wife is openly having an affair and I'm the one who needs pity. Difficult time is an understatement, Judith, I said, my voice tight with anger. Your daughter is having an affair. Judith just tusked and patted Clara's hand. Now, Ethan, let's not jump to conclusions. Clara is a good girl, she would never do anything to hurt you intentionally. Intentionally, then came the kicker. Perhaps, Judith continued, her eyes narrowing, this is all just a misunderstanding. Maybe you're misinterpreting things. You've always been a bit sensitive, haven't you, dear? Are you kidding me? This is verbatim what Clara said. They've clearly rehearsed this. They're tag-teaming me. Last night, things escalated even further. We were having dinner, which was excruciating, by the way, and Judith kept making these pointed comments about how important it was for me to focus on my work and provide for Clara. She even suggested that I should be grateful for everything Clara does for me. Grateful for what? For the constant lies and betrayal. I finally snapped. Grateful. Judith, are you serious? Clara is having an affair, she's lying to my face, and you're sitting here acting like I'm the problem. Clara started crying, fake tears, I'm sure, and Judith glared at me. Ethan, you're upsetting Clara, apologize this instant. I couldn't. I stood up, pushing my chair back so hard it scraped against the floor. I'm not apologizing, I'm going for a walk. I walked for hours just trying to clear my head. I called Olivia, my friend the lawyer. She listened patiently as I vented, then said something that really hit home. Ethan, she said, you need to protect yourself. This isn't going to get better on its own. They're not going to stop, you need to take action. She's right. I know she's right. I'm tired of being the victim. I'm tired of being gaslighted. I'm tired of being treated like I'm crazy. I need to fight back. I need to take control. I'm meeting with Olivia tomorrow. It's time to lawyer up. It's time to end this nightmare. Wish me luck, Reddit. I think I'm going to need it. So I met Olivia for lunch the next day. I was a wreck. Couldn't eat, barely talked. Just kept picking at my salad and staring into space. Olivia, bless her heart, just waited patiently. She knows me well enough to know when I need to process. Finally, I just blurted it all out. Liv, I started, my voice shaking, I think I'm losing my mind. Ethan, she said gently, tell me what's going on. And so I did, I told her everything. The messages, Clara's gaslighting, her mother's arrival, the whole twisted, sickening saga. I even showed her the messages on Clara's iPad. Her reaction, pure shock. Her jaw literally dropped. Ethan, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, this is insane, she's completely manipulating you. I know, right? I said, feeling a flicker of validation. But they're so convincing, Clara and her mother, they're tag-teaming me. They make it sound like I'm the crazy one. Olivia shook her head. Ethan, this is textbook gaslighting. They're twisting reality, making you doubt yourself. It's a classic abuse tactic. Abuse. That word hit me like a ton of bricks. I'd never thought of it like that before. But my parents, I stammered. They're buying into it too. They think I'm just stressed from work. Olivia sighed. Ethan, your parents have always had a strong influence on you. They want to believe the best in Clara. They don't want to see the ugly truth. It's easier for them to blame you. That's when it really clicked. Olivia wasn't just validating my feelings, she was giving me a completely new perspective. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I was being manipulated systematically. What do I do? I asked, feeling a wave of helplessness wash over me. First, Olivia said, her voice firm, you need to stop doubting yourself. You know what you saw. You know what you heard. Trust your instincts. Then she laid it out for me, clear and concise like the lawyer she is. You need to document everything. Save those messages. Keep a journal. Note any unusual behavior. Gather any financial records you can. We need to build a case. A case. The word felt cold, hard, and necessary. Ethan, Olivia continued, you need to protect yourself. This isn't just about your marriage anymore. This is about your future, your sanity. Hearing those words, something inside me shifted. The fog of confusion and self-doubt started to clear. I felt a surge of not quite anger, not yet, but something close to it. Resolve, a determination to fight back. I'm ready, I said, my voice stronger than it had been in weeks. I'm ready to do whatever it takes. So, I was downstairs in my home office, trying to focus on work, which felt impossible given the circus ACT upstairs. Judith, Clara's mom, was holding court, her voice echoing down the hallway. I could hear snippets of their conversation. Poor Clara, so stressed. Ethan S. been distant. The usual gaslighting garbage. I tried to tune it out, but it was like trying to ignore a fire alarm. Then I heard my name, clearly. He's so obsessed with this business, Clara said, her voice laced with fake concern. He doesn't even care about me anymore. I'm just AA convenience. My blood ran cold. A convenience? Was that how she really saw me? Oh honey, Judith cooed. Men can be so oblivious, they just don't understand our needs. But don't worry, dear, you'll be taken care of. Ethan's doing well, isn't he? The business is thriving. And then came the words that shattered everything. Clara Laughed. A cold, cruel laugh that sent shivers down my spine. Thriving is an understatement, she said, her voice dripping with venom. He's making a killing, and the best part, he's so clueless he'll never suspect a thing. I'll milk this for all it's worth. This divorce is going to be my golden ticket. Golden ticket. She was talking about our divorce, our life together, like it was some kind of game show prize. She was admitting she was using me. In that moment, something inside me snapped. It was like a switch flipped. The confusion, the self-doubt, the desperate hope that things could be salvaged, it all vanished, replaced by a white-hot rage. I felt it in my chest, a burning pressure that made it hard to breathe. My hands clenched into fists, my knuckles white. My vision narrowed and I could feel my heart pounding in my ears. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated, cold-blooded exploitation. And I was done. I stood up so abruptly that my chair toppled over. I didn't even bother to pick it up. I walked upstairs, my legs feeling strangely heavy, yet propelled by an unstoppable force. I didn't care about being calm or rational anymore. I didn't care about what they thought of me. I was done playing their twisted little game. I walked into the living room, where they were sitting on the couch, oblivious to my presence. Clara was flipping through a magazine, a smug smile on her face. Judith was sipping tea, looking like the picture of maternal concern. I stopped in front of them, my hands still clenched. I heard that, I said, my voice low and dangerous. I heard everything. Okay, Reddit, buckle up. After hearing Clara and Judith practically high-fiving over my impending financial demise, I knew I had to go full-on strategic. This wasn't just about leaving anymore, this was about survival. First, I called Olivia back, explained what I overheard. She was furious. Ethan, she said, this changes everything, we need to move fast. She told me to start documenting everything. Every single thing, so I became a goddamn spy in my own home. I set up a hidden camera in the living room, thank you, Amazon Prime. I started recording all my phone calls with Clara and Judith. Every conversation, every interaction documented. Paranoia? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. I also went through our finances with a fine-tooth comb. I made copies of everything. Bank statements, investment accounts, credit card bills, even old tax returns. I needed to know exactly where we stood financially. I wasn't letting her take me for a ride. Olivia had me create a detailed timeline of the affair, including dates, times, locations, everything. She said it was crucial to establish a pattern of behavior. It was tedious, painful work, but I was determined. I spent hours poring over text messages, emails, anything I could find. I even started keeping a journal, documenting Clara's gaslighting tactics and her mother's helpful interventions. The hardest part? Playing along. I had to pretend I was still clueless, still buying their lies. It made me sick to my stomach, but I knew I needed to keep them off guard. I needed to gather as much evidence as possible before I made my move. Olivia also put me in touch with a private investigator. He was expensive, but worth every penny. He started tailing Clara, documenting her book club meetings, which, as I suspected, were anything but book-related. He even got pictures of her and Mark together. Proof. Solid, undeniable proof. And then the masterstroke. I remembered something Clara had bragged about to her mother, a safety deposit box where she kept some of her personal belongings. I accidentally found the key. Let's just say I know where Clara hides things. I made a copy of the key and with Olivia's guidance, don't try this at home, kids, I accessed the box. Inside. More evidence of her affair. Love letters, photos, even some jewelry Mark had given her. Jackpot. I organized all the evidence into a neatly labeled binder. Text messages, photos, financial records, pie reports, the works. It was thick. It was damning. It was MY armor. Emotionally, I was a wreck. The anger was still there, simmering beneath the surface, but it was mixed with a strange sense of calm. A cold, hard resolve. I was no longer the naive, trusting husband. I was a warrior preparing for battle. I knew this was going to be messy, painful, and probably expensive, but I was ready. I was finally, truly ready. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about taking back my life. This was about reclaiming my sanity. This was about justice, and I was coming for it. All GUNS, BLAZING. The air in our sleek, modern kitchen crackled with a tension you could cut with a knife. Clara, fresh off her spa weekend, which, thanks to my pie, I knew was actually a romantic getaway with Mark, was perched on a bar stool at the kitchen island, sipping a green juice. Judith, ever the watchful mother hen, hovered nearby, fussing over a vase of lilies. I placed a thick manila binder on the pristine white countertop. Thud. The sound echoed in the sudden silence. Clara's perfectly manicured eyebrows shot up. "What's this, Ethan?" she asked, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "It's a collection of memories, Clara," I said, my voice steady, surprisingly calm. "Memories you seem to have misplaced." Judith clucked her tongue. "Ethan, dear, what is the meaning of this theatrics?" I ignored her, my gaze fixed on Clara. I opened the binder, revealing page after page of meticulously organized evidence. Text messages, printed and highlighted. Photos of Clara and Mark, their arms entwined, their faces pressed close. Financial records showing unexplained withdrawals and lavish purchases. Copies of the contents of her secret safety deposit box. The works. Clara's face paled. The green juice in her hand trembled slightly. "Ethan, this is ridiculous," she stammered. "Where did you get this?" "Oh, I have my sources," I said, a small, cold smile playing on my lips. Judith, bless her heart, jumped to the rescue. "Ethan, you're being absurd. This is clearly some sort of misunderstanding. Clara would never." "Shut up, Judith," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. The shock on her face was almost comical. Years of polite, compliant Ethan had vanished. This was a new Ethan, an Ethan they didn't recognize, and they were clearly terrified. Clara, regaining some of her composure, slammed her hand on the counter. "You're spying on me? This is insane. You're controlling and paranoid." "Controlling?" I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "You're the one who's been controlling, Clara, manipulating me, gaslighting me. Making me question my own sanity." I flipped to a page in the binder, showing a printout of a text message where Clara explicitly stated her intentions to drain my bank accounts during the divorce. "This, Clara," I said, my voice dangerously low, "is you admitting you're using me. This is you, in your own words, calling me a clueless cash cow." The blood drained from Clara's face. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. Judith, speechless for once, just gaped at me. The power dynamic had shifted. They could feel it. I could feel it. I can explain," Clara stammered. "I don't want your explanations, Clara," I said, my voice flat. "I want a divorce." And that Reddit was the moment it all came crashing down. The look of pure, unadulterated panic on Clara's face, priceless. Judith's stunned silence, the cherry on top. They thought they had me. They thought they could play me. They were wrong. So wrong, game over. So the fallout after the kitchen confrontation was nuclear, to say the least. Clara went from fake remorse to full-blown rage in about 3.2 seconds. Screaming, crying, throwing things, thankfully nothing breakable. Judith, after her initial shock, joined the chorus, calling me every name in the book. Heartless, cruel, ungrateful, you name it. It was like a scene from a bad soap opera. I just stood there, watching their performance with a strange sense of detachment. It was almost comical. They were so used to manipulating me, gaslighting me, that they had no idea how to react when I finally stood my ground. The divorce process was messy. Clara fought tooth and nail. She tried to deny everything, of course, claiming I'd fabricated the evidence. She even tried to paint me as the abusive one, claiming I was emotionally unstable and controlling. Thankfully, I had Olivia, and I had that binder. Proof, people, proof is everything. In the end, the evidence was overwhelming. Clara eventually agreed to a settlement, which, let's just say, didn't leave her rolling in dough. I retained ownership of my assets, and she walked away with significantly less than she'd anticipated. Karma, baby, it's been 6 months now. Life is different. The dust is still settling, but I'm starting to feel like myself again. I'm sleeping better, I'm eating better. I'm actually focusing on my work again and it's thriving. I've also reconnected with some old friends who I distanced myself from during the dark times. They've been incredibly supportive and I'm so grateful for their friendship. My parents. That's a bit more complicated. They're still struggling to accept what happened. They still have a soft spot for Clara, and they still sometimes make comments about how I should have tried harder to save the marriage. It's frustrating, but I'm trying to be patient. They'll come around eventually. I hope. The biggest change, me. I'm different. This whole experience has been a brutal wake-up call. I realized I spent my whole life trying to please everyone else, especially my parents. I was so afraid of disappointing them that I let myself be walked all over. Never again. I've learned to set boundaries. I've learned to trust my instincts. I've learned the importance of putting myself first. And you know what? It feels damn good. I'm not perfect, not by a long shot, but I'm finally starting to live my life for me. So Reddit, that's my story. It's been a wild ride, and honestly, I'm still processing it all. Have any of you been through something similar? Any advice on navigating the post-gaslighting world? Would love to hear your thoughts.